5 million Yoruba people signed petition to break away from Nigeria, self-determination group tells Buhari. The group had in the letter said that an overwhelming number of Yoruba people want out of the country because of their worsening and painful plight. A group, the Yoruba Self-Determined Movement, YSDSM, has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to react to a letter written by the group stating that Yoruba people were set to secede from Nigeria peacefully. A leader of the group, Banji Ayiloge, disclosed this while referring to the letter jointly signed by him, Professor Banji Akintoye, Chief Sunday Igboho, and Prof. Adeniran to the president. According to Ayiloge, the 5 million Yoruba who signed the petition to have a Yoruba nation is a testimony to their desire to be free from internal colonialism. He then called on the government to act on the letter without further delay, the Independent reports. Ayiloge, who is the vice chairman of the YSDM, urged Buhari to read and respond to their demands. The group had in the letter said that an overwhelming number of Yoruba people want out of the country because of their worsening and painful plight. The letter was written to serve notice to Nigeria that the Yoruba nation is prepared to peacefully exit Nigeria. He explained that the letter was justified and appropriate under the law as a reaction to questions being asked by the group's diplomatic team about the reaction of the Nigerian government to Yoruba demands for a separate nation. YSDM was temperate in our letter to the President of Nigeria because we must demonstrate that Yoruba are peace-loving people. The Yoruba people can now wait for 1 more month to await the reaction of the President of Nigeria. While in some instances silence could mean consent, we are prepared to consult our people for the next line of action, and the momentum for a separate nation has built up to a crescendo among Yoruba people, and there is no going back. The Yoruba Self-Determination Movement is an amalgamation of many Yoruba organizations around the world that fully subscribe to the notion of the Yoruba Self-Determination Project. The decision of the next line of action rests with Yoruba Council, which is the highest policy-making organ of the nation. The council will determine the next line of action. However, the group urged people to be law-abiding in the face of constant provocations. Okay, I think the timing of this absolutely is, we have elections coming up, so I guess it is strategic, because if Nigeria is going to decide its next 4 years and who's going to take over, well, might as well just restructure and then understand that, you know what, let's succeed. Even though I do think it's a very tedious, and I mean, I don't think by February next year Yorubas will be able, or there will be a whole Yoruba nation. I think that is highly unlikely, but they're gonna have to still keep trying, because realistically I don't think a lot of the youths or the government have the time when campaigns are starting to then focus on succession, and not even succession, because if attention is given to the Yoruba nation, then of course you know what that would do to trigger, the Southeast, for example, Biafra. Self-succession is not a crime. Kudos to the Yorubas. I mean, it's going to take long. I mean, I wouldn't say that I think on the basis of just independence and self-determination, you shouldn't hold anyone against their will. Of course, it is never as easy as just, the Yoruba nation will just be established and everything will be fine. But I think I'm not as opposed to the Yoruba nation, given the fact that Nigeria technically is about 3 nations in one. But the thing is, for the Yoruba nation, realistically, knowing how the government is, they're going to have to push and, signing petitions or trying to wait for the reactions of Buhari, or the president, whoever that it is. They're going to have to be aggressive with their move. And I think if you compare the process of, Biafra or IPOB and, the Yoruba Self-Determination Group, you have to say there's a difference. The Igbos understand you have to be aggressive with it. You don't ask this government, you never ask for your freedom, you fight for it. Freedom is not given, you have to take it. And so if they want to really achieve this, this is very I think they're too concerned with, being perceived as peace-loving people. Well, maybe it is their culture, so in everything or in their processes, they would try to keep up that culture and attitude, which is fine. But given the government that they exist in right now, that peace and loving, very nice tone nature is not going to work at all. No way. Well, God bless those people that signed and the ones about to sign. God bless Biafra. God bless Yoruba Nation. I think there has to be a bit more aggression, towards Oduduwa Republic, or else now. But Tinubu supporters have been mocking Easterners on Biafra. Now Yorubas are agitating for Yoruba Nation, and no one is using this against Tinubu, but they won't allow Obi supporters rest over Biafra agitations. And now this is very much relevant to our time, and this comment is, it's just, it hits the nail on the head, because, I think the Yorubas have not necessarily been as aggressive, and given the history and just how the government's interaction with the Igbos, it's never been peaceful, it's never been good. So really, the Yorubas do have a way to get away from being the target, because they have just not been aggressive. I mean, they did not pull out a whole process of leaving or declaring, it's Oduduwa Nation war. They haven't done it like that. They haven't been aggressive. So really, realistically, of course it's not going to be used against them. But then it's very much important, because, it shows that if they would use Biafra against Obi, then really you understand that propaganda and the news as well is also intentional to not make Obi win. Because really, why is Yoruba Nation or the Yoruba succession group or Yoruba agitations not being used against Tinubu? That is a question that we need to ask. Very important question. The dew of heaven are gathering, and if the clouds are be full, they empty themselves without hesitation, and there is nothing anybody can do about it. At the end, Biafra shall come. I see. I think, you know what? Fine, great, but really, it's going to take a long time. And I think for Biafra to work or to be actualized, they need to start, training the next generation, because really, this kind of move is not going to be established anytime soon, except by, really miraculous things, do occur. But really, let's be honest, anytime soon, with the whole, seeing how Nnamdi Kanu is still being detained, and I don't even know updates on Sunday Igboho, really, if he's left Benin Republic, but it seems like the government will be more intentional to break efforts of Biafra, or IPOB rather than Oduduwa Republic. There is so much can argue on this, but I think in the comment section below, and do not forget to like and subscribe.